In the world of PKI, or public key infrastructure, and code signing, most organizations spend 90% of their energy on issuance. They focus on the paperwork and the verification required to get a certificate. In reality, issuance is the simplest and least risky phase of code signing lifecycle. The real danger and the real work begins the moment that certificate is delivered. Today we are just going to discuss why issuing is just the beginning and why lifecycle management is what actually protects the enterprise. When you issue a certificate, you are making a point-in-time decision. You are saying, for example, on this Tuesday at 10 a.m., this team appears to be authorized. However, that one-time decision then authorizes potentially thousands of signing events over the next several months or years. We are using a single moment of vetting to grant a massive amount of future authority. Issuance is a snapshot. The life cycle is a movie. We must be honest about what issuance does not do. Issuance does not govern usage. Once that certificate is in a team's hand, it can be used in ways you never anticipated. It can be moved across different pipelines, used for different products, or shared across environments, all without any further review from the central security team. Issuance gives them the car, but it does not control where they drive it. The context of a project is fragile. Teams change, products evolve, and your company risk profile shifts as the threat landscape changes. Certificates, however, are resilient. They remain cryptographically valid and active regardless of what is happening in the business. Unless you have active life cycle management, you end up with legacy authority, keys that are still signing code for a business reality that no longer exists. Sorry, I did not add the image for this, but the importance of this course is giving you the knowledge. In theory, we should rotate keys frequently. In practice, rotation is rare because it is seen as operational risky. Teams fear that changing a certificate will break a complex automated build pipeline or cause a production outage. This fear leads to static keys, certificates that stay in use for years, accumulating more and more authority and becoming a more valuable target for attackers every single day. Many people confuse expiration with lifecycle management. They are not the same. Expiration is just a timer. It only limits duration. It does not check for appropriateness. A certificate can become inappropriate, perhaps because a project was cancelled or a developer left months or even years before that timer runs out. Relying on expiration as your only control is like relying on an egg timer to guard your front door. When we suspect a problem, our tool is revocation, but without visibility into how a certificate is being used, revocation is a dangerous blind action. Organizations often hesitate to revoke a suspicious certificate because they cannot predict the blast radius. They don't know which legitimate production updates will stop working. This hesitation gives attackers a massive window of opportunity to continue using a compromised key. In a governed enterprise, trust must be earned repeatedly. But in most organizations today, once a certificate is issued, it is never revalidated. There's no periodic reassessment of whether that team still needs that level of authority, whether the scope is still correct, or if the risk of that specific pipeline has increased. We treat code signing as permanent trust rather than conditional trust. Every phase of this life cycle that you don't manage represents a compounding risk. Issuance without rotation, review, and a clear path to revocation turns your certificates into permanent release credentials. You are not just managing keys, you are managing a growing library of unmonitored master keys that can authorize any software at any time. The consequence for the enterprise is still trust. You continue to trust signing identities that no longer reflect your current security posture or business needs. This trust debt builds up over time until your environment is so cluttered with legacy authority that you can no longer distinguish between a legitimate release and a security breach. We have to bridge the governance gap. Policies and best practices reminders cannot enforce lifecycle display. Humans will always take the path of least resistance, which usually means don't change the key. System must enforce the lifecycle. Governance must be built into the tools so the rotation and review happen automatically as a requirement of doing business. To conclude our topic, issuance creates trust but lifecycle management defends it. The truth that most enterprises learn too late is that the green check mark on a signature is only as good as the management process behind the key. In our next topic, we look at the reality of auditing these systems and why proving software trust is often harder than it looks.